How's it going? This is Zach with Ronin Imports, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install a NIStune Type 3 board into an ECU. And of course this install is going to be a little bit different than your typical install, because this one actually has, you can see it says Mines right there. It has Mines aftermarket ROM chip installed. You can see the ribbon cable going down to the board. But the same basic principles are the same. But the point of this video is pretty much to show you that you can install a NIStune board using basic tools. Right here we've got a soldering iron, nothing fancy. Obviously a little bit of solder. We've got a solder sucker and some soldering wick. Another thing that you will need, which this board doesn't appear to necessarily require, is you might need something like acetone or alcohol. This is just some 99% isopropyl alcohol that I've got to clean off a little bit of the conformal coating, but I assume that once I take the back of this off, most of the coating will already be gone. So we'll go ahead and get started. Obviously you can see that the top of the ECU has already been removed. The board's been unscrewed. So we'll go ahead and flip it over. We'll pull the back of the ECU off. You can see that these joints have actually been soldered to where the ribbon cable has been installed. There's actually a little bit of corrosion there. So we can try to clean that off with the alcohol. But turn the board around this way. So yeah, you can see right here, it's these points right here that you end up installing the pins for the NIStune board to press onto. Obviously not on this side of the board, but I'm on the other side. This ends up getting installed, and the board pushes down over top of it. But we'll go ahead and let me see. Just get some alcohol. Go ahead with desoldering. And of course, we're going to be using a soldering iron and our solder sucker, both of which you should be able to get at pretty much any hardware store or any type of hobby store. They're really not that expensive. You should be able to get a soldering iron for $15 or so, and obviously a solder sucker. You can get one of these pretty cheap, less than 20 bucks, but you can get both online for even cheaper than that. We'll go ahead and start desoldering. It's pretty much, you just want to apply a little bit of heat. Take your solder sucker and you're putting it directly over the joint, pressing the button, and it sucks up the solder. This is where I'm going to take some soldering wick. And some of these joints that look like there's still a little bit of solder left over, so you can go back and suck it up. Pretty much, yet again, you don't want to heat up the board too much, because you don't want to damage anything, but you do want to place the clean soldering wick over top of whatever you're trying to desolder, and apply pressure with the soldering iron, and then the heat goes through the wick and pulls up the solder. So in this part of the video, I'm basically just going over and removing excess solder with the desoldering wick. Of course, this process is a little bit more lengthy than it should be because I'm actually removing the solder from around the wire sticking through the PCB for the mines board. Compared to a stock ECU, these are just blank holes with solder in them, so cleaning them out is a little bit quicker. But of course, part of the video I had actually sped up. I mentioned that the board has a little bit of corrosion as well as some burnt conformal coating from whoever installed this mines board. I assume that Mines did themselves, but there's some burnt conformal coating there where it doesn't look like it was cleaned off. So again, the process just took a little bit longer than it should. I guess on the plus side, this video actually showed a worst case scenario because that was kind of a pain to get out. But there it is. There is the mines board, ribbon cable. You can see the, they put epoxy over those ROM chips so you can't really get to them and try to pull their tune off of it, which is still possible. So it's just a deterrent, but. So now what I'm going to do is go over these spots with the desoldering wick, as well as the alcohol one more time, just to clean them off. Especially now that those pins are out of the way, you can really get in there and clean it pretty well. I am taking the desoldering wick and going over the joints to get the excess solder off. Next you're going to take your little pin header. I've already pushed it into place a little bit and press it down into place. It should go in relatively smooth. If you're having problems, then there might be a little bit of solder left on the back side, which it feels like there is a little bit of a snag. I think it's this pin right here. And there we go. You want to press it down until it's flush. It's hard to show in the video, but you can see the actual black plastic in the middle is pressed all the way against the PCB. No problem. So now the pins are exposed on the surface. Just get your soldering iron, clean off the tip again. You want to make sure it's clean. Get your solder and go to work. You want to try not to get the board too hot. Just apply heat for a second or two and dip the solder in and allow it to flow over the pin and over the pad on the PCB. And that is pretty much it, honestly. You do want to look at the joints, make sure that there's no connections in between. But these soldering joints are pretty far apart, so you really shouldn't have a problem on, with the Type 3 boards. Yeah, I don't see any issues. But that's it. You just come up with your program board afterwards. This board actually hasn't been programmed yet, so I'm not going to push it in there. But NIStune Type 3 board presses down into place, and then after it's in place, if you really want to, a lot of people put hot glue around the edges, trying to hold it down in place a little bit better, and along the back side to just make sure that any type of vibrations don't pull it loose. But I mean, that's it. You got your NIStune board, your header pins, and that's all there is to it for a Type 3. Thank you for watching the video. If you found this video useful, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to our channel. We have more NIStune videos on the horizon, including Type 1 and Type 2 board install videos, and a Type 3 install on stock ECU. We also have some NIStune tutorial videos that will include basic adjustments and a guide on getting started with NIStune. Again, thank you for watching.